Hello and welcome to another episode of Culture Vultures, and today we've got the fabulous Jay Lynch.
Hello, how are we doing?
You're the only one that's clapped along with me. Thank you very much for that.
That's very egotistical of your other guests, man. That's awful. Just basking in the applause of one person.
No, it's good. I'm happy you're here. So we're here to talk about Eurovision.
We are, man. Yeah, it's when you put the post out initially for like people's kind of niche pop culture interest. I thought, oh, class, I'll go for the longest running televised event in the history of the world. Really niche.
Yeah. But it is quite niche, to be fair.
It is.
It's Marmite, I think.
It's cultish, I think. You're in the cult or you're not in the cult. It's the Scientology of the music industry, I think. Yeah.
So why Eurovision then? What was that?
Mainly my good wife, to be honest, for like the severity of it. You know what I mean? I think growing up in Ireland, as 7-time winners, joint top, it's just get that in there quite early. Just getting like growing up in the 90s and there being every other year you're alive, you're winning it.
Yeah,
that's class. That's why Brazil like football, but we're shite now. So yeah, I think it was just like we went to a few Eurovision parties, and then my wife, my partner at the time, she started like it's called pre-gaming. So like you start watching like the qualifiers for Lithuania and fucking. Can you swear?
Aye.
I'll just do one or two. Don't know. Yeah, so just watching the qualifiers and getting mad streams off Reddit to watch like the second round qualifier for Slovenia and stuff. She's into it,
right?
Man.
Deep.
So she's a deep diver and she's a Reddit fan, and Josh is on the stuff like that. So just being in that kind of orbit, you do pick it up. The same way like we move over to Glasgow. My wife's not a football fan, but I'm a big football fan. She picks up on stuff, know. So yeah, it's her football, So yeah, and I love it, man. It's class. It's just the kind of thing that. It's a nice cyclical thing. It's every year. Obviously, it's obviously controversial at times and everything else, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But it's just 3 nights a week that it's of your year. That's absolutely stupid.
Yeah,
you're guaranteed to have something that's absolutely ludicrous. And I'm sitting there, loving my life, and she's like taking fucking notes. Like, she's like, they were much better in the rehearsal there on Tuesday. She dropped the microphone at 30-degree angle. She didn't do that on the night. And I'm the same. I'm sitting beside her going, that staging's fucking brutal. Why are you having a pedestal? I can't sing a note, man. I can't. I can barely walk around the stage doing stand-up, and I'm critiquing these guys doing like insane choreo, But no, it's just something that any good kind of pop culture thing of that longevity needs to evolve, and it has.
Yeah.
I think that's class because you're getting... you've had your peaks and your valleys, You've had your really terrible years, 2001, and you've had your class years. You've had, like, in fairness to the UK, when they were in Liverpool, that was unbelievable. And you get, I think it's the party you get with it as well. I don't know. Have you ever been to like a Eurovision party?
I've only been to like house parties.
Aye.
Yeah. So my wife, when she turned 30, we were meant to go to New York.
Okay,
but she got pregnant. We got pregnant, will I say?
I think we's okay.
We's okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got pregnant, so we couldn't go. So the next best thing was a Eurovision party for her 30th, and it was one of the best nights of her life.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah. She says it's apart from having Wayne's and getting married, it's been the best night of her life.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
When was that? Was that this year just gone?
No.
Year?
It was about 7,
okay.
maybe 7.5, 8 years ago. So
I'm trying to think of who won that year. Should I go back in my knowledge? I'll check it in a minute.
Yeah.
How'd you find it? Good crack.
I mean, I'm the same as you. Like, just kind of gravitating towards it because I liked it. Like, I did watch it a lot with my pals and things like that. But Gail was like really, really into it.
Yeah.
I had a gig the night Eurovision was on, which was horrendous.
Allowed,
and then when I come home, her and her pal had like notes.
Yeah.
And they had like, I think it was, if somebody does this, you take a shot and all that. So
we've done those, man, and they're absolutely killer, man. Like if there's a smoke machine or if there's the sparklers, it's like, okay, grandma heroin there, and we were very serious about it. But yeah, man, it's just the fun that comes with it, man. It's class.
Yeah,
it's class.
Yes, but I mean, and as you were saying, the Irish domination between 92 and 96, he's won 4. So in 92 was Linda Martin. 93 was Niamh Kavanagh, who we'll come back to. Paul Harrington and Charlie
Gettery, I think. I can't remember. Yeah.
Which was a song that was in Balaka's Angel, I've been told by my wife as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know the words. It's about rock and roll kids.
Yeah,
and then, and then it's the voice, Emer Quinn.
Brilliant.
Don't get me
but
started.
But that year, the UK finished 8th with Gina G. Just a little bit.
One of the most insane results of Eurovision history.
How
Gina,
did that happen?
If you're bored of an hour or 3 or 4 minutes, go back and watch the Gina G performance. She's unbelievable. It's like unequivocal bop. Like you just know the words straight away.
Yeah.
But the staging, there's just like a PC CD-ROM on stage, and like that's supposed to be the synthesizer. It's like a Windows 95 big cream colored box, and like there's 2 dancers, and then there's just this computer.
Yeah.
It's class. 8th is insane for that. There's a few songs like that. There was one 3 years ago. It was Ria Lynn, and she was Azerbaijan or Armenia. Apologies to Azerbaijani listeners if I'm mixing you up, because I don't think that's a good thing to do. But it was Ria Lynn, and she had a song called Snap. And she came she got to the final. She came like on the right side of the board, so kind of the bottom half. You know. But it's a song that like it's called. It's like 1, 2. Where are you? And it's like it exploded on TikTok, and it's like one of the best-selling Eurovision songs of all time now. And she's like the first person from her country to sign with Universal, and
really?
Massive career, and like it's one of the most streamed songs of the year, like Spotify rap and all that stuff. So like, and she was like second side of the board, like bottom half, and it's like massive career for her.
Yeah.
So you always get those random acts that don't win that are like excellent songs. Like Gina G is a great example. Ria Lynn. I think Bambi Thug this year was one as well.
Incredible.
Oh man, she's in Glasgow in a week, or they're in Glasgow in a week's time. I think second is in a week.
Oh really?
Playing SWG3. I might be there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be class. Can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, they were like that's what I love about Eurovision. Like I've been listening to obviously like a Eurovision playlist, and it's all like 1 minute it can be like piano, and then next minute it's a party song, and then there's just goths running about.
Just loads of goths, man. So kind of jumping around the place, but like you do get like tours. They come to Glasgow quite often, like the Eurovision tours. Like there's like a Eurovision tour that doesn't come to Glasgow. Like it's like kind of the best of acts. Like Linda Martin would be there and stuff like that. They'll go to London and Holland and stuff like that. Like kind of legends. But lots of the acts the year after they perform will do like a European tour, and Glasgow's always a spot. So I've been to a couple. I was at Karja, who came. He was the Finnish guy with the green sleeves.
Oh right, yeah.
So he was in Edmondson House near Ibrox, or at Ibrox. I think it's the first time I was happy in Ibrox. I was like having a good time. But it was mad going, man, because like he's a Finnish rapper, and I'm there, and it was kind of people who shouldn't be emo anymore.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, man, you've got a mortgage, you know.
Yeah, and a bad back.
A bad back, and they're wearing like Bulbasaur t-shirts, and the place stunk out of ass. But I was there with my pals and my wife, and there was people singing along to him in Finnish, and like they were from Castlemilk, like, do you know what I mean? Like it was so good. I knew like 3 songs, but like he had other bops, and people were like singing the choruses along with him, and it's like, that's amazing, you know, that like some mad Finnish guy can come over and do that. So the show, but he was one again, crazy show, and it just catches people, and the audience is amazing, man.
Yeah. I mean, there have obviously been big stars that came from Eurovision. So it's Celine Dion done it for Switzerland.
She did it well.
Strange. Why was that?
You need to have some lineage. That's what initially the rules were. You had to have some lineage, and you had to sing in a language native to that country. Yeah. So, like that's why the kind of the 70s and 80s were all kind of mad German songs, and some of them were belters as well. But she must have Swiss lineage in somewhere. But sang it's actually did she win?
I think she won.
She won. Yeah. It was an absolute it's just a Celine Dion song, but she's like 17 doing it. It's class.
Yeah. Because there was Cliff Richard as well. I've got in my notes. He came second.
He did indeed.
That was a
known not paedophile Cliff Richard.
Yeah.
We're not the BBC here.
Allegedly, right?
Allegedly. No, yeah, he was a big star. He'd had a couple of. There's obviously one act we're gonna have a slow burn for in a minute and reveal the one that everyone knows. But like, yeah, what's mad being kind of into the kind of culture of Eurovision is there's massive pop stars we don't know. Like there's a guy called Mahmood who'd finished second a couple of years ago. He's Italian for a song called Soldi, and he came third or fourth 2 years ago then with a duet called Brividi. But he's like one of Italy's like biggest pop stars.
Right.
Massive guy. Kind of should have won it. Like he's that big, and he's like there's an Amazon documentary about his life and stuff like that. Oh,
really?
Yeah, so he's like a massive star. He won like I think he won X Factor like 10 years ago, and he's like but like he's handsome and trendy now and cool. So he's massive all over Europe, like doesn't do anything over here because he just sings in Italian.
Yeah.
But like, he pops up in videos. A Sabrina Carpenter video came up and she's like posing with that rapper Centra C. And everyone's like, oh, look at these two guys. And it's like Mahmood's in the photo as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's Mahmood. He's huge. Like so you got your Celenes and you got your Cliff Richards. But then it's like it's mad having that and I go, oh, that's that massive singer from Italy, or there's other acts as well. You're like, they're huge where they're from, or they're huge in mainland Europe. It just doesn't cross that bit of water. ABBA are good.
All right, yeah.
I've heard a few bops. So ABBA obviously the big one, man, and that's contentious for me. I'm not a massive ABBA fan. I actually don't like Waterloo. I don't know how you feel. I don't know if I'm after hurting your feelings there.
I was like a stab. Aye, that's how can you?
I don't know. I don't like imperialism.
I don't.
That's my problem.
Fair enough.
The post-colonial inside me is like, no, Napoleon, don't do it.
Yeah, I just thought I really liked ABBA.
I like ABBA. I'm not like diehard. I know people like Super Troopers class. Leo, You're Loving Me is a great song. But yeah, Waterloo, I just find, I don't know if it's I've heard it so much in my life.
Maybe.
When you mention like you're big into Eurovision, it's like, oh, ABBA.
ABBA
have been on Eurovision. It's like, yeah, I know. Yeah, Waterloo, was it Waterloo? Class, yeah. I must go on Spotify and check out. How'd you spell that? That's the same backward. That's a palindrome,
Well, I was talking about it in another podcast and it got cut because the other person didn't want to talk about it. I feel as if you're going to be fine with this, but the Agnethia from ABBA, she was the
engineered baby.
Yeah.
Can you please provide more context to that?
So she was
leader in STEM.
How would you say she's a product of the Aryan race?
Yeah, essentially, it's a mad. It was some kind of initiative. It's kind of back to work scheme or something. But no, there was obviously she was basically there was a focus by a bunch of people we won't name on developing more people that were blonde hair, blue eyes. I have no affiliation with any of those people as a blonde hair, blue eyed man. But yeah, Agneth was a byproduct of, I don't know, I guess eugenics and kind of ethnic manipulation. I don't know what you'd call it, but it's one of those ones like when you find out Asa Base. Do you know Asa Base?
Yeah.
Mad Nazi.
What?
Yeah, the guy. Okay, that's a massive slanderous
allegedly
statement. No. No, allegedly. The main guy in Asa Base was like a massive neo-Nazi.
What?
And he had to come out and go like, I was, but not anymore, I swear. I promise. But like, if you Google, it's when it's 4 a.m. and you can't sleep, Google Asa Base Nazism, and there's results. You'll find it's the main guy. I think he was like the producer, like the guy on the PC CD-ROM making the music, and he was like, and it totally changes all you want. So when you hear all that she wants is another baby, you're like, I bet you that baby's blonde hair and blue eyes.
Yeah.
That's Agnes. Wow. That's the baby he's on about.
But then there was the other thing with Agnetha where she was being stalked. Oh yes. So she had I'm not saying yes that she had a stalker. I'm saying that you didn't know about it. So she had a stalker, and she done a really weird thing with her stalker where she moved in with him.
Yeah.
And her stalker made her shit in jars, and he kept them in the basement. They're not together anymore.
No, that petered out.
Yeah.
Why?
Isn't it weird? Apparently, there's a documentary about it.
Oh,
so it is
to
true.
be seen, man. That's class.
Aye. So that's.
I can't believe that. My kind of favorite home invasion story, if we can call it that, is George Harrison and the Beatles. So he was a devout. I don't know. This could be made up, but I'm hoping it's not. So please, I've called Ace of Base Nazis. Now I'm going to tarnish the good name of George Harrison. He was a Hare Krishna, and seemingly this man was stalking him as well, and was really unwell, and convinced himself that George Harrison was like an acolyte of Satanism and needed to be killed, and got into the house one day, like a home invasion attacked him, and he started kicking the head off of George Harrison, and George Harrison was defending himself and shielding himself, but seemingly started screaming Hare Krishna, and praying to his God, but the crazed man took that as speaking in tongues, and was like, I was right, and like tried to kill him. And I think the security eventually got in, but it was like, Joe, if he'd have said like, man, can you stop? The man was like, oh, you seem sensible. You seem like a nice guy. Sorry, man. Sorry. I'll chill out. Because he was kind of saying unrecognized words that do, like Hare Krishna, you can imagine that being quite a tongue, speaking in tongues. Yeah. Man was like, I fucking knew it. Gotcha. But yeah, I don't think George Harrison's a Satanist.
No.
But yeah, ABBA's class.
So we had the UK had one, and people that will know me will know that how I feel about this woman. But Lulu,
Boo Boo, more like, right?
I hate her more than any other person in the world. Like, she thinks she'd done an interview with Graham Norton. I think it was. It might just be, and he said to her, "Oh, you're for Scotland." She was talking like a pure English accent, and then says, "Oh, you're for Scotland." She went, "Oh, hi," and done that, and then got a big laugh and an applause. And for that minute on, I've just, if I had one bullet, it's gone straight for
herself.
Yeah. Allegedly. I don't know if that kind of.
She's a winner, and she's from the draw year, so there was like 4 winners that year, so she's only a quarter winner. So it's the only ever tie in Eurovision history. This is insane
knowledge, by the way.
Thank you very much. That's what George Harrison said. So I think maybe 68. I could be wrong, but that's the only time there's ever been a draw. And there was like 4 people tied for first place, and they were like on the spot, like, we don't know what to do, and they were like, they're all winners. Yeah. Like, like you've got 2 kids of you? Is it?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so like when there's a competition or something, you go, oh, you're both winners, honey. That kind of thing.
She got an award the day for doing well in all her jobs, which I think is a participation.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Doing well in your jobs doesn't sound like she finished them.
No.
It's like, just put the blocks away. Nah.
I mean, she's 7. I'd imagine it wouldn't be blocks, but whatever she was doing, she kept within the lines. Or
good. Enjoy fair play. Sometimes. Shout out to Wee Thompson. Doesn't like Ace of Base. But yeah, so Lulu's only a joint winner. There's a few in there, but is a Eurovision winner. Absolutely, give her credit for that. No, I'm only joking. No, but no, UK have said some good acts.
Well, that's what that was going to be. 97 was Katrina and the Waves. Which was an absolute belter of a song, but I can't remember the name of it.
God Shine a Light.
Oh, I saw it was.
Yeah, so that was a good one. That was a deserved winner that year. You're getting late 90s, and even Ireland. 2001 is the worst year.
What happened? I mean, what happened in 2001 apart from 9/11?
This was worse. It was just a year. I don't know. Was everyone really worried about the Millennium Bug and didn't invest in something? Yeah. There was feck all money, and the Eurovision that year was like in an industrial state. I can't even remember what country in the world it was, but Estonia won, and it was these 2 lads, like very 2001 fashion. Like, I think like a kind of a leather blazer was in the scene, and it's like a song called like "Come On Everybody, Let's Have a Party." Like over and over again, and they're just and like it won but there was nothing else. That was terrible. It was nothing else anyway better than that. So that kind of early noughties is a dark period. Ireland stopped competing for I think a year or 2. I think for 2001 and 2002, Ireland didn't compete. They were like, no, we don't know what's after. We haven't won in 3 years. There's something wrong, and they kind of went back to the drawing board, and a lot of countries do that quite often. Like we had Luxembourg back for the first time in years last year, and they've won. You know what I mean? They've won Eurovision, and they were gone for a long time. You've had a couple of acts do that as well. I think North Macedonia or Montenegro or something like that are back for the next one and stuff. So that does happen. Countries go, listen, it's a lot of money. We're not going to do it again. And Ireland did theirs. I think that was probably my starting point was. So 2003 was they did like a very early version of the X Factor in Ireland called Eurostar. And it was an absolute mental show. So it was just X Factor premise, but the winner gets to go to Eurovision.
Yeah.
Loads of countries do it that way. It's time immemorial. But I was in 6th class, so like P7, and it was wild because they used to radio's still massive in Ireland. It's big here, obviously, as well. But they used to announce who got eliminated at 8 a.m. on the Monday morning. So the show would be Saturday, and they'd be voting Saturday night, all day Sunday, and then like Monday at 8 a.m. they would announce who got eliminated live on radio, but also live on telly. So like before going to school, like in some hotel lobby in Dublin, there's like 5 singers, like obviously very tired because it's 8 in the morning. It's like, and Al, you've been eliminated, and it's like, okay, and then that's it. Like they didn't get it. Like you could have some tension. No, give it a whole weekend, and then announce who's eliminated at an inopportune time, but like perfect for teenage or like little kids. But it was mental because one of the women that got eliminated a week later was a student teacher in my primary school. And I was like, oh my God, you're on the telly. I was like, I think that was when I realized like sometimes your dreams don't come true. Like this woman's like, I'm going to be at Eurovision, and then was in Partickswell National School arguing with Mary Sue about something about yogurt, you know. So class. But that was class, and that was Mickey Joe Hart, 2003, I think. It was 2003, 2004. Great year. He came 7th or 8th.
Oh, really?
Pretty decent.
Yeah.
But his song was absolutely ripped off from a previous winner. If you listen, so his song is called We Got the World Tonight. Class. And you know the song Fly on the Wings of Love?
Yeah.
Put them on after each other and you're going to feel a little guilty for Ireland because it's the same song. It's identical, man.
Well, I was going to talk about as well the scoring system in Eurovision. It's very strange, because people vote for their neighbours. Like I've never known anybody going to war because they never get 12 points in Eurovision.
I'd be surprised. It's that kind of block voting was a big issue for years and years. So like essentially Eastern Europe would vote for Eastern Europe. Cyprus will always give Greece 12 points and vice versa. I think it's the same place. I don't think there's any difference between the two spots. And again, then it's just like Ireland, Iceland, and the UK are like, we've got no neighbours. Do you want to hang out? Yeah. Do you know, like those 3 kids in a school that don't have any pals. Like, just you're all weird. Hang out over there. So they've tried. It's mental to think. And there's drama. I think it was the last Eurovision. I don't think Cyprus gave Greece the 12 points, gave them 10. And I remember watching it, and we went, oh. But like the audience went, oh, because they saw Greece. They're like, oh my God. But yeah, those voting things are mad, man, because they can be quite charged. There's been times when I can't remember the specifics of which country, so I don't want to get it wrong. But like when they've like not when the wee person pops up the wee like, hello, and I have your 12 points. They've like refused to say certain countries' names. Like 12 points goes to say if now this hasn't happened, but say if it's like if Ireland would refuse to say UK because of the political history, and 12 points go to Ukraine, and then there's like an awkward pause, and then the host is like, I think you're wrong. Could you say it again? And then they're like, yes, Ukraine. Like, they will refuse to say it. So they're like, oh, can we go? So there is a little bit. There's not been a war. Directly because of Eurovision. There has been a revolution. This is the one bit of trivia.
Let's go.
The coronation revolution in Portugal, which was Salazar. I don't know. So Salazar was this awful dictator, censorship, political kind of assassinations, awful time, really bad. Lovely weather. She was hot. When they overthrew Salazar, this kind of, so it was called the Coronation Revolution because it was one of the first places that actually put flowers in the guns. That was kind of, I don't know if it's the first place it happened. It was the 60s, but that's one of the times it's known as the Coronation Revolution. The kind of revolutionaries had to devise like a signal for it to go, and they all agreed that when Portugal when their song started on the Eurovision was D-Day. That was the start time. It was across the whole country. Everyone would know. I think it was 10:55 when the song eventually was on. So they heard that song, and that was like "Get Ready." That was like "Get Armed." We're going to do this. And then the last call was there's some other pop song that they played on national radio. The DJ was in on it, so he knew. Okay, everyone was ready, and he was told either like play Waterloo or this Portuguese song. And if you play Waterloo, we'll say we're not going to do it tonight because there's something gone wrong. But if you play this song, hit the streets, and did, and that's how. So Eurovision helped liberate Portugal from a dictator.
That is
there you go.
Incredible.
It's amazing. I only found out. I knew about that, but I was in Lisbon getting married a few weeks ago, and there was a museum about Portugal had a really close relationship with Czechoslovakia at the time. They had the Velvet Revolution roughly around the same time. So it was an art museum about like kind of the art of rebellion and stuff. It was really, really cool in the National Gallery in Portugal. And it was like pictures of the Eurovision contest. And it was like, that is class. So my wife's still there. she's not left that exhibition. She's like, this is unreal. So it's not started wars, it started revolutions, which is class.
That is class. And did the UK give Ireland? Did they give them 12?
Oh, that's that's generally it's a little bit awkward. I think generally speaking, the UK does give 12 points to Ireland quite often.
Yeah,
and then Ireland will usually give it 8 or 10, which is interesting. I think part of that has to do with the north of Ireland being able to vote for the UK.
Right,
do you know what I mean?
Right.
So they're eligible to vote for Ireland.
I was going to say because really, Ireland went 6, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Hey, boom. Alan Thomson, everybody!
Buzzing with that.
Jerry Adams is just sitting at home voting like, fuck, like, we're gonna win. We're gonna win. It's more Ian Paisley, but it's fine. They're all good laughs.
Oh. I was saying you just
six-pack, please.
building up
That's
to
good.
that. So.
See you in your car, like, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
But yeah, we had something similar with the kind of I'm sorry. But with the competition for who gets into Eurovision, I think it was Gemini that won it, and they ended up with 0 points.
Yeah,
was it? And it was Terry Wogan who was like announcing it, and then he said the wrong name.
Did he?
And then it all kind of went to nobody knew who had won, but Terry Wogan at Eurovision was my highlight.
He's class. So he's from my part of Ireland. He's from Limerick.
Oh,
so
is he?
Yeah. There's a really ugly statue of him there. It's. Do you know when you see like that Ronaldo one?
Yeah.
It's like that bad.
Is
like,
it?
Yeah. It's right by the river, and like that's good because you can throw yourself in after looking at it because it's the worst thing you'll ever see. Terry. We didn't grow up in Terry. Terry Wogan wasn't our guy, even though he was Irish and was very, very good and withering and excellent. We have a guy, Marty Whelan. He's still going. He's been doing it for years and years and years. And it's class because I'm almost certain, I could be wrong, that he was like the commentator in the good days as well. So he had those like 10 years of 4 or 5 wins. And then for the last like 20 years, it's always when we get to the scoring and we're like, either we don't qualify or we are like in the bottom section, he's raging.
Oh no!
He's just, well, it's all about Joe. They gave 8 points to Turkey, and Joe, it's only because they're nearby. It's only because they're neighbours. We'll never compete with that again. Oh, we'll have to take our trousers off, and we'll have to do this, and he's very, very funny. But but Terry Wogan is class. I think Graham does a good job.
Yeah,
great. I think always after the first bottle of wine. you can kind of feel it. He's probably doing shots as well. Yeah. He's a smoke machine. Like, he's class. I think he's very good. My favorite thing is whenever it's France for the wee video voting thing, they always have the Eiffel Tower.
They're behind them,
yeah. And Graham's was like, I wonder who this is. Where are they? Do you know? And it's like, we're in Paris. Paris. It's class. Yeah.
He is. He's just kind of perfect replacement for Wogan.
Absolutely. Well. It's concerning to see. I have a feeling. So Rylan and Scott Mills from BBC Radio do the semis. That sounds like a euphemism. They they do the semi-finals, and they're very good as a duo. But I don't think a duo needs to be for the final. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Scott Mills is great. He's a great DJ. He's great at pitching stuff up and presenting it really, really well. It's a nice, clear voice. And Rylan kind of has the color. It's kind of like football, like a color commentator and kind of a kind of play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
It works for the semis and it works really nicely, but I can't see it for the final.
No.
Maybe Rylan on his own, but he's too fun. He needs to be a little bit.
Needs a straight man.
Yeah.
Try to set you
I
up.
think I don't think that's what he's looking for. I really like Rylan's guys. He's a proper Eurovision fan as well, which is class.
Yeah.
We were watching Melody Festival, which is the Swedish it's like their X Factor. It's more people in Sweden watch Melody Festival than the Eurovision. It's their it's how they pick their performer, you know. So it's like
right.
I think it's 4 semi-final, like four qualifiers, and there's one big show. It's massive. It's like their biggest thing, and it's amazing. And it's like they've won just as much as Ireland has, but they've obviously really grasped it. And it's like this arena, and it's full of like old grannies and kids, and they're all having an absolute laugh. But there was one year where the host was walking around like speaking in Swedish, and in the background you can just see Rylan. He's just got like 2 pints. He's like, and we had the English commentary on because we don't speak Swedish. And I was like, is that Rylan? And it was, and they got him into the booth. He was twisted. It was clear. He was like, "Oh, I can't!" Like just usually he's like, he got a good radio voice and presenter voice. He was hammered. It was class. So it's good that he's a proper fan, and he does champion them on his radio show and stuff, which is great. But I think keep Graham as long as we hold on to Graham Norton as long as we can.
So that's how deep you go. You're watching. That is.
So Eurovision is May. We'll start October, November. That's not even a joke, man. So this is like the fallow period where like we're both my wife and I are in like an unspoken depression. Yeah, like we don't know what to do with like our lives.
Just had to get married just for something to do.
We got married. Yeah, will we just do it? Will we just? So I think it's very often Belgium first. They pick their act very, very early. Ukraine do a class job. Like Ukraine are doing it in a subway. For the last 3 years, and like it looks better than the Irish stage. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so because Ukraine are like they are unbelievable at Eurovision. I think the idea of having like a way of showing your culture and your national identity, even before all the tragedies that's happened in the last couple of years. Obviously, Ukraine has fought for an identity, and it's so distinct from Russia as well. And like Eurovision, they have so many songs that champion like Ukrainian folklore and Ukrainian culture, and their bops. I'm pretty sure Ukraine I don't think they've ever not qualified since they've like been in Eurovision, which is like, and they've won I think 4 times. Like Kalush Orchestra was the one that won 2 years ago, and people go, "Oh, that was just a kind of sympathy vote." There was a lot of support for them, but they've already won it 3 times before that, you know. And I think Jamala, who won with a song called 1944, which was a song about like our grandmother having the flee because of Russian invasions and stuff. The lyrics aren't like shadowed or not. They're not subtle. She's got the highest ever win. Like it's like 530 odd points, the biggest points ever. So like Ukraine are just class. They're always Lithuania are my like second team. So you know they're my Partick Thistle. Or my Queen's Park. Shout out to Queen's Park. Shout out to the Spiders. But yeah, Lithuania are my go-to guys. They're just good fun. But Ukraine they just really get it. But we watch the Ukraine ones, the qualifiers. We'll watch Germany, Sweden. Germany not so much actually, but like Lithuania. We'll watch all these random countries, and like there's been nights where like my wife Stacey will have like the laptop ready with the video on mute. It's not a dodgy box. We've got a television that just gets Lithuanian TV and we don't know why. I think it's to do with the wind. On that, and then like so like there's like 3 finals on, you know, and we're like, okay, Norway's really good as well, and we're like, all right, okay, let's try and figure out how we can actually get this all, and then we're like, okay, we'll watch and we'll watch like bits of each, and like they do time it that none of them announce their winner at the same time, so we can like, okay, go there. Now there, and it's class. So yeah, November time we're like into it. It ruins a bit of the magic because there's something class about seeing them for the first time, like seeing the acts on the night. Or even it's like, I know people who are big Eurovision fans, but they don't even watch the semi-finals. You know, they just want to watch the final and go to the party. But like, it does. I made the analogy at the start. It is a bit like football. You're like, oh, he's going to maybe qualify, and you're looking and then you're seeing how they develop a class. Like, I remember the guy for Lithuania this year was a guy called Sylvester Belt with Luke Telk, which means hang on. I googled it, and he good little bop, kind of Troye Sivan kind of vibes, and we were like watching him. He won the We watched. He was the first act on of the Lithuanian qualifiers last year. We were like, he could win, but he has to develop the staging a little bit more. And then like watch the semi, and once you get to the semi, you can't change your stage, and that's just. And he didn't change it. We're like, it's going to cost him. And it cost. He was right out of the board, and he was a good act. Shout out to Luke Telk. A lot of shout outs today. Queen's Park, Sylvester Belt, all the big ones. But yeah, so we'll watch. But you see some. A lot of them will like champion their culture, so they'll have some mad, in the worst way possible. Like they'll have some mad Swedish granddad singing a song called "Dum Diddly Diddly Dum," and he's like slapping spoons off his neck or something like that. And it's like, this has been seen by millions of people. Which is class. I love that. I love how bad it can be as well. You have to embrace that, man.
Oh, of course,
it's about everything. Like, there's some tragedy in that. It's class. I love a bit of tragedy.
It makes you appreciate the good bits.
The good bits, absolutely.
But I think there's like, for me, I love like metal music and stuff. And I think that's kind of seeped me in quite a bit. Like there was Lordi for 06?
I think 06 is right, yeah. Hard Rock Hallelujah. 06 or 07, I think. Definitely that little bracket there. Yeah, I remember watching it. That was, I'm a big metal fan as well, man, and that was class. See, when I was 10, 14, 15 or something like that? Class. Like, they were a band I'd heard of before.
Right.
Yeah, like I think my brother was big in the metal music, maybe him or something like that. I'd heard of Lordi. I think I'd seen a picture of them where they're like kind of like Joe Guar and stuff like that.
Yeah. See, yeah.
And and then they were on and it was class. Like a proper riff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think of any other one. There's a like Maneskin for Italy, more hard kind of Buck Cherry kind of rock.
Yeah.
But still cool.
Yeah.
There was a few other metal bands. The Rasmus last year.
I was going to say that, yeah.
It was mental.
Really, really weird, yeah. I wrote down the Rasmus and I don't know where I've put it. I'm sure there's another page there. But yeah, that was
Waiting
strange,
in the shadows.
Strange.
Boom!
Yes!
6 counties.
But then there was this year, there was Bambi Thug.
Bambi Thug. They've carried a country on their shoulders for a good year. Ireland's not been good. There's no two ways about it. There's a lot of politicking in the Irish Eurovision world about like the broadcaster plays it very safe. There's been I can't remember his name. There's a guy who's been the head for the last like 20 years, but he does care massively and he does put a lot of work in. But he's kind of presided over 20 years of stagnation and
yeah.
So he's not a despised figure, but there's always like, can we reboot things? And I think sometimes this is going to sound controversial, but I'll add some. I've got some time. I'll add some post-colonial theory to this. There was a guy in Kenya called Ngugi wa Thiong'o, right? And he had this theory about called the post-colonialism called the metaphysical empire. That when a country leaves oppression, like colonization, they don't know what to do with themselves. So they still kind of have a look at who used to be in charge of them to kind of follow suit. So he was speaking from a Kenyan point of view, and like they have the same legal system, the same parliament. Ireland does the same. This idea of the metaphysical empire and kind of following suit, when the UK didn't give a shit about Eurovision, Ireland kind of didn't give a shit about Eurovision. They were like kind of sending people who just got a good B in their hire.
Yeah.
Do you know, go over there and sing a song about being 22.
Lovely horse.
That is, yeah. I mean, that would be good. And like, it's getting there, but like they don't. Again, look at Sweden. They've got like a 40,000 person stadium, whereas we can't fill a caravan. Like, do you know? So the year the Bambi qualified, they've kind of remodeled it a little bit, and it's still not quite there. Like, it used to be in this really bad studio. Late Late Show as a chat show in Ireland.
Yeah.
Their studio's famously bad for music. It's been like that for the whole of its creation. So they moved to a soundstage that they use for Dancing with the Stars, which is great, but like they couldn't have any chairs on the dance floor, and then the acts were performing with the band, so there was a huge separation. But they got in people, like they sought out like Eurovision fans and Eurovision podcasters to be in the crowd and stuff to kind of give that energy.
Yeah.
And you had like 5 acts that were what we've seen. Like they were good, the strongest year in a couple of years, but still safe. And then there was Bambi. And right from the offset, we'd already been following the acts kind of when they were released, their announcement, and we were like, they have to win. They were so different, and they got in, and yeah, it was they were very adamant about their vision, and they employed a lot of their own creative directors and their own designers and their own choreographers and all this stuff, which isn't the norm. Usually you've got a budget from the station,
Right.
like BBC or whatever, and you get your guy, like Ollie Alexander would have got that stuff from BBC, whereas Bambi went and said, it was like a Spanish guy was their director, got him in and stuff, and it was unbelievable. Metal, as you were saying a while ago, goth, but I think my favorite thing, and the reason why I think it did so well, was every year each country tries to bring its own thing. Like a couple of years ago, Italy had this like revolving stage that had either like a screen or loads of lights, and in a beautiful Italian way, it broke on the night. It's like, I can't fix it. But Sweden, like this year, had like really dynamic camera work. That never really been like quick zooms and like people on the stage kind of making live music videos, and lots of acts tried to use them, and they did like a lot of POV kind of singing to the camera, like France and Greece. Was it Greece? It was Zari's their name, some country, Greece. I think it's Greece. They tried like singing point of view a lot and kind of to the camera, whereas Bambi had like Dutch angle lenses zooming in and all this kind of really dramatic like horror movie stuff. Yeah. And like, the demon appeared, just proper stage. And yeah, probably saved Ireland's Eurovision for a lot after a long year of famine, pardon the pun. Bambi has come in with a big bag of curly whirlies and saved the day. I can't like buzzing, man. See, when they came out, they had two songs. They had Love Hurts or Love Bites. I can't remember the name of the song, and Doomsday Blue. I was like, either of those are going to qualify. Like, it was amazing to have that. But as a big fan, and you've gone through, like, I don't know, it's like supporting, I don't know, like a team that doesn't win very often.
I'm a Motherwell fan, if you want.
Okay, supporting Motherwell. You know, that's case in point. Though I found out you won a boy told me recently that you'd won a Copa del Rey
in the
1927.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? We beat Real Madrid. I was like, that is the most Motherwell thing
that's
that ever
why
happened.
we're still talking about it, because we've won one thing we got. Since.
3 years time now is a centenary. Like, you'll have a big party. But it's like imagine this time next year, Motherwell get second. So like Bambi didn't win, but like have a great show of what Ireland can do, and it was just really invigorating. And pressure's on RTE. With the national broadcaster in Ireland, they have to follow suit now. The pressure's on now to like they got a really good performance there, and like the fear is they'll just go back to safety. It's like, don't go for that crazy motherfucker. It shows
that's what people want. I mean, like,
100%.
The thing with the cameras above them, and then that thing's like rising up.
It's class.
It was
like they did it so well. They used those cameras so well, and I don't think anyone else grasped how effective those cameras could have been.
Yeah.
Now, if they have them next year, I think people like you always learn from the year previous. I think you'll see a lot more of that in this year's Eurovision if they have those cameras in. I think it's Basel. That's in Switzerland, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, class. I think it's Basel this year, and if they're back again, I think you'll see a lot more of that kind of overhead angles, but like not just like someone lying down singing.
Yeah.
Like having a bit of staging with it. Yeah, just love Eurovision, man. It's class.
My daughter, she's just kind of started getting into it as well, but my wife had says like she needs to go to bed before this comes on because she'll have nightmares.
Is Eurovision junior a thing in your house yet, or is that something that's even known to you?
Not known.
There's a junior Eurovision song contest. Yeah, so Belgium won. I can't remember her name. I think it was in the 80s or early 90s with a song called J'aime la Vive. It's a real happy pop, but she was, I think, 15, 16. She was the youngest ever winner, and when she won, they're like, we can't have teens winning. It's a bit exploitative. After like one winner, like that's enough. So they got in junior Eurovision. So yeah, it's on like maybe a month or two before, and it's like for kids. It's like 9-year-olds. Total tangent, but Sylvester Belt from Luke Telk fame was a former junior Eurovision contestant. Yeah. I've to be clear, I'm a totally normal man. I've actually never watched a Junior Eurovision. Because it's very much like Disney pop songs
kids
for
pop
kids.
type
It's
thing,
good
yeah.
fun, man. I have a few pals of mine whose kids watch it and are like really into it. And like, I think this is gonna sound mental, but there's like a Junior Eurovision summer camp, but I think it's like in like Romania. You can send your kid out. I know it does sound a bit sus. No discredit to any Romanian. Shout out Silas.
Yes.
But it's in the middle of nowhere, like in a forest, and they kind of get the kids ready. It's really expensive, like summer boot camp, to get your kid like into the industry
ready.
of Junior Eurovision. Yeah, so you can show your kids that. That's all kind of clean cut and nice and fun.
Yeah.
Jolly. Don't you hate homework kind of songs, but to a beat. Imagine that, but a 9-year-old Austrian child. So Junior Eurovision's good as well for kids. If you're in your 30s, just watch the normal Eurovision, okay? Just do that for yourself.
So the UK and Ireland compete in the juniors as well, or do they still have the big five in there? Or?
It's the winners. I think France win quite a lot. Ireland came second. I remember that made the news in Ireland. It was like, we might be good at it again. And it was a little girl. I think she was singing in Irish, if I remember correctly. It was a very it was quite a nice. She got a wee bit of time on telly and stuff, which was nice. I'll be honest, I don't follow it, but I know it exists. But yeah, everyone, it's as big. The crowd isn't as big. You know, the funding isn't as big. It's quite a smaller stage. But in terms of like the contestants and stuff like that, it is massive. Yeah, I think it was a wee French boy who won last year. I can't remember much about it. Yeah, yeah. Fair play to him.
Yeah. So your wedding song then was by Niamh Kavanagh.
Niamh Kavanagh, yeah. So we got married just over a month ago in Lisbon. Thank you very much. So far, so good, man. It's good. I like it. I like being married. And yeah, again, it had to be Eurovision for somewhere in the song. I think in the overall wedding we had, I think 4, maybe 3, definitely 3. It was my wedding. I don't remember everything.
Yeah.
Definitely 3. So we had Niamh Kavanagh as our first dance, and that's a great song. My wife got on her hen. It wasn't a cameo, but it was a cameo. It wasn't done through Cameo, but one of my pals got in touch with her management agency and got like a video shout out for Stacey.
Oh, no way.
I think she cried more at that than our actual wedding. It's a video. It's Niamh. I remember one time I was drunk one night. I come home and I was like, because Niamh Kavanagh is a bookable artist, you know, like she performs, I could afford that. I couldn't. So I was like Googling and I told the lads and they're like, okay, first dance. It's a perfect first dance song. It builds. She beat the UK. Puppet on it. No, not Puppet on a String. That's not that. Jesus, she's not that old. Better the Devil You Know with Sonia.
Oh yeah.
Came second.
Yeah.
That's not what the song is at all. And it's class because like they brought back Sonia for the Eurovision 2 years ago, and they made this big whole thing that she nearly won, she lost out to mean old Ireland. Sonia is back. Come on, and everyone started, and she came out singing her song. And then when it came to the televoting, it was Niamh Kavanagh as the person, and everyone she gets a big cheer. She's very popular in the Eurovision world. She's performed. She's competed twice.
Yeah, twice.
And she was like, I just want to say a quick hello to my old friend Sonia. And I'm like, yes! It's the best thing. So good. So Niamh Kavanagh's class. It's got a big high bar, a big high note moment. Unbelievable. We had Jedward Lipstick.
I was going to say they've competed twice as well.
We've done that a few times. Once to great effect. Niamh Kavanagh won and qualified and did well with a ballad, a nice soul romantic ballad. I can't remember the name of the song, but I know it in my head. Just like a standstill ball gown belter kind of song, but didn't do great. And then Jedward did really well with Lipstick, and then with Waterline. Not so great, man. Not so great. They were great, man. They were good. They are a very Eurovision act.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they looked the part, and Europe really took to them at the time. But the pressure with Ireland is we had the first 2-time winner.
Yeah.
With Johnny Logan.
Yeah.
Who is just like he's Mr. Eurovision. Like it's class. Like he's technically won 3 times. He'll tell people that because he wrote Linda Martin's song.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so he Hold Me Now, What's Another Year, and then Why Me was a song he wrote, and he's like, I'm a 3-time winner. But Johnny made an appearance at the wedding. So Lipstick, Johnny Logan with, I think it was Hold Me Now. That was at the end of the wedding. And then it was Niamh Kavanagh with the first dance. Perfect. We had normal Padam and stuff was there, and we had Enter Sandman with normal songs as well, interspersed with songs just for me and my wife.
Yeah. Yeah, as I say, I think there is a real kind of crossover between metal and Eurovision. I think I knew a pal that his favourite band's like I think Cannibal Corpse, and then he's actually been to Eurovision.
Yeah.
Have you ever?
We'd love to. Oh, we've looked at when it was at Liverpool. We were like, this could be the time, and it just didn't work out for us work wise and stuff like that. And then a few of our pals went up to Sweden. Well, they went to Copenhagen. You can just seemingly Malmo's like across the bridge.
Oh right. Yeah.
So people were like living or staying in Copenhagen and going straight over to Sweden. It's on our. We'll get there. We'll get there. It's a bucket list thing. Switzerland, maybe not, because we can't afford to live where Tina Turner lived. You know what I mean? That's crazy. So we're really hoping. See, Glasgow would have been the perfect place. That's kind of our biggest regret. Not even just for the location, it would be a perfect Eurovision place. It would have been the Hydro would have been a great spot for it. It's in the Eurovision movie. Yeah, the performance, it's class. So good.
Going home to watch it tonight, I think.
I can't watch it again. Twice in a day is enough, isn't it?
Have you?
No. That's how we pray. No, man. Yeah, we will get there. It has to be the right act. The right country has to win for us. Italy would have been good as well. It just needs to be the right place to get there. And we both work jobs that are hard to get holidays in May for. So we'll have to swing it. You can go to there is pre-shows, like there's rehearsals you can go to.
Yeah. And
they're the exact same. They're fully there's a full crowd. They do a fake vote and stuff, so you can go to that and see the exact same performance. So people do that. It's like a matinee. There's a family friendly show. There's like 2 dress rehearsals, and there's the semis, and then there's the final. You know, so there's loads of chances to go. They're still expensive tickets. Even the day tickets are a couple £100 sometimes. Like, you know, so I think if we were to go, we'd love to go to the final, but I think at the very least we'd get a dress rehearsal and go over to the Eurovision Village and stuff. Yeah. But someday, don't think we'll see Cannibal Corpse at the Eurovision.
No. Well, you never know.
You never know. There was massive rumours that System of a Down.
Oh, really?
They keep popping up year and year that's Armenia, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, for Armenia. They keep popping up as, they'll do it for Armenia, which would be unreal. But like Serge Tankian can't really sing as well as he used to anymore, so it would be tricky. But
well, there was a thing when Radiohead had released Kid A, they didn't want to do any publicity, no media for it, so they just sent songs to the Eurovision people and just says, can we do Eurovision? And they get told no.
That is class.
Mm-hmm. Morrissey done it as well, but I mean, that's for another. You would say no to Morrissey.
You'd say no to Morrissey if he was asking for a friend, like, you know.
There's like I've always found that really, really interesting and really annoying that they didn't actually get to perform, because Radiohead, especially during Kid
A, that time period would have been unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's quite Eurovision-y, Kid A. I think when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean,
great beat things.
Yeah, absolutely. The staging would be interesting. I'd say. Yeah. Tom York like on a plinth rotating around the place. Yeah.
So unfortunately, that's us towards the end. Do you have anything to plug?
Not much, man. My mouth, maybe I've talked too much. Yeah. No, you'll see me around Glasgow. I perform wherever will have me. Jay Lynch Instagram is Jay Lynch Comedy. Get me there. I've no shows upcoming. I'll be doing a Glasgow Comedy Festival next year and stuff. You'll see me in Edinburgh hopefully next year as well. But for now, just you give Eurovision a chance. Start in November and see how it goes. That's my plug.
Brilliant. Well, that's been another episode of Culture Vultures.